Hello everyone, I'm Marlena from BrainsBeetsBaloney and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm glad to be here to welcome you. Our goal is to share science and research-based information in order to untangle the complexity of the different aspects of nutrition and exercise. Today's video will be all about sleep, and I will share the corresponding blog post in the description below, in which you'll find a lot more information and detail about the topics that I'll be discussing here today. So when it comes to sleep, there's a lot that we're still learning, and sleep science wasn't really widely recognized until around 1953 with the discovery of REM, or rapid eye movement sleep. Until that time, a lot of scientists believed that while you were sleeping, the brain was inactive and it was useless to study it. We now know, and we'll see throughout the video, that this isn't the case. The brain is actually highly active during sleep, and sleep isn't just there to cure sleepiness. It's actually necessary for normal motor and cognitive functions. And according to Dr. Matthew Walker, who is a professor of neuroscience and psychology at the University of California, Berkeley, and the author of the book Why We Sleep, there is no physiological system or operation of the brain that isn't enhanced by sleep or impaired when you don't get enough. Unfortunately, our national sleep average is now down to 6 hours and 31 minutes. And as society is getting more and more sleep deprived, the risk of disease and even fatalities are increasing. I'll get into all that later on, but first I'd like to start with the basics. And I'm going to start by talking about the sleep-wake cycle that we all go through on a daily basis. So our sleep-wake cycle is regulated by two processes, the first of which being the circadian rhythm, and the second is sleep homeostasis. The circadian rhythm is mainly regulated by our circadian clocks, which are found in the hypothalamus region of the brain, and more specifically the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Our circadian rhythms are regulated by external factors such as light, darkness, and even social interactions, with light being the main regulator. We can see the effect that light has on us when we take a look at melatonin production in the body. Melatonin production not only plays a role in synchronization of the cycle, but it also has a sleep-promoting effect. And melatonin levels in the body are increased with darkness and decreased in the light, which is why it's so important to get light in the morning in order to decrease those melatonin levels, increase them as it gets darker, and get yourself a good night's sleep. A great example of the way our circadian biology is set up, and which really shows that it's day-oriented, is by taking a look at night shift workers. While we still have a lot to learn about the long-term effects of night work, we have seen that night workers who work during the night and sleep during the day are only able to get about 4 to 6 hours of sleep, waking up after that time and not being able to get back to sleep. This means that they're more subject to sleepiness, decreased performance, accident risk, and even chronic disease risk. The second process we'll be talking about is sleep-wake homeostasis, and this essentially works as a timer where sleep pressure builds up when you're awake and decreases while you sleep. With that being said, it's very important to keep in mind that sleep quality is just as important as sleep quantity. So in studies looking at sleep deprivation versus non-rapid eye movement sleep deprivation versus rapid eye movement sleep deprivation, we've seen different results. If you'd like more information about the sleep stages, I do have that in a little more detail in the blog post, but for now, all I really need you to know is that the brain typically cycles through the sleep stages about 5 times each night, with each cycle having a longer duration of REM sleep. This being the case, the last 2 hours of sleep are majorly composed of REM. So when people say that they can survive and thrive on 6 hours of sleep, while you may think that you're only missing out on 2 hours, proportionally, you're actually missing out on about 70% of your REM sleep. So you may be wondering, why should I care? So let me get into what REM sleep does. So we've seen that one of the main purposes of REM is to recalibrate the emotional centers of the brain. And this is seen very clearly in a child who's missed their nap time. When a child is sleep deprived, you may notice that they throw more tantrums and that their emotional balance isn't exactly there. REM sleep deprivation doesn't just cause a bad mood though. In experimental studies, we've seen that selective REM deprivation has even induced PTSD-like symptoms. We have also seen that improving the quality of REM sleep using certain medications that are prescribed for PTSD have actually been shown to decrease those symptoms. When we take a look at dopamine signaling, we also see a high correlation between addiction and sleep. So when we look at the mesolimbic reward system, we see that it's highly affected by sleep deprivation, and that it actually leads to modified behaviors such as sensation seeking, risk-taking, and impulsivity. We can take alcohol addiction, for example, in which sleep loss seems to predispose individuals to relapse, and we also see this in childhood, where sleep deprivation or sleep loss actually seems to predict substance abuse later on in life. Another link is between sleep and obesity. Following sleep restriction, the desire for high-calorie foods is increased due to the decrease of decision regulation in the frontal cortex, as well as enhanced reward sensitivity. When it comes to deep sleep, studies have shown that non-REM slow-wave sleep actually plays a role in memory processing, and that a lack of sleep can have a negative effect on learning, as well as the encoding-related activities in the hippocampus. We've also seen that lack of deep sleep leads to the immediate buildup of beta amyloid as well as tau protein, and these are two big players in Alzheimer's. At first, amyloid plaques and tau tangles form in mostly non-overlapping regions of the brain, but as the disease progresses, there appears to be a strong association between disrupted sleep and the progression of the disease. With all that being said, there's really no surprise that the Guinness Book of World Records banned any attempt at sleep deprivation. And this became official when it became known that one of the biggest detriments of sleep deprivation is actually depression, anxiety, suicide attempts, and suicide completion. And suicide isn't the only fatal result of sleep deprivation. According to the U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, 100,000 accidents are due to fatigue and sleepiness. And according to statistics, this causes more accidents than drugs and alcohol combined. Aside from the obvious, which is falling asleep at the wheel, drowsy driving also includes episodes of microsleep, which is when the eyelids partially close and you no longer react. There have been studies on driver performance during these microsleep episodes, and not only do they show slower reaction time, but deterioration of overall driving performance. All in all, while we haven't scratched the surface on certain aspects of this very vast topic, the research has shown time and time again that sleep is one of the most crucial, if not the most crucial aspect in improving our health and overall well-being. So be sure to get a good night's sleep to help promote a healthier life, including less cravings, less addiction-prone behavior, improved blood glucose control, as well as other performance-related outcomes. If you guys enjoyed this video or you found it useful and informational, please be sure to give it a thumbs up before you go, and don't forget to subscribe to BrainsBeetsBaloney for more information on nutrition, exercise, and overall health. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video.